Okay, welcome back for the final segment of the Nick and Joe Show, folks. Joseph is in Ottawa, and I am here in Bunker F, out on the farm. And we have had quite a series of segments talking about some pretty serious stuff. And it's not going to get any better if you have any kind of amount in your bank account. And you're going Chrystia Freeland has ideas for how you can stimulate the economy with your savings. And the logic behind this, like she said, well, there was nothing to do during COVID anyway, so people weren't spending any money. True, but they weren't making any.
No.
So let me read just a few lines from the story.
Okay. And
then I'll let Joseph weigh in on this, because I think if you ever watch YouTube and watch Pierre Poilievre in action, Poilievre, I should say, when he's in the House of Commons, he's like a bulldog. I love the way he handles himself. And he was talking to her, and he wanted to know, when they were going to switch from the credit card economy to a paycheck economy. Anyway, so that's the background. Federal Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland says Canadians have too much money in their bank accounts. Now she's trying to figure out a way to get it out, prompting Tory finance critic Pierre Poilievre to warn Canadians to lock up their money. Folks, lock away your money. Liberals are worried you're saving too much. They want ideas on how government can act to unlock those savings. No, Trudeau's people's savings don't belong to you. No, Trudeau, people's savings don't belong to you. Keep your hands where we can see them. Sorry. Okay, so here's what she said. She noted that a preloaded stimulus idea could work, saying some Canadian households, and it tends to be the better off ones, do have quite a lot of money that they save because there hasn't been much to do in the pandemic. Ah, brother. Certainly it would be great if that money could go towards driving our recovery, Freeland said, adding if any viewers have any ideas how to tap into the money to let her know. So they seem to have run out of ways to reach into your pocket, and now they want you to come up with ideas about how the government can get at that money. That seems to be the thrust of the story. Joseph, you're up.
Well, I feel like a mosquito at the nudist colony. I just can't figure out where to begin. Oh, dear. Okay, look. First thing, let's just address the obvious. And that is that if the finance minister is saying that we need all of that savings, those savings to be unlocked, so to speak, in order to drive our economic recovery, this raises the question: what was all of the other, $400+ billion that we've spent already supposed to be about, if not keeping our economy or restarting our economy? So, I mean, I thought that's
a good question.
I thought that's what we were doing. and
Canadians wouldn't go broke in the process.
That's right, because it's the why should we borrow money? The government saved us from having to borrow our own money. It borrowed it. Oh my God! It borrowed it for us. Oh,
this is on the same level as when Justin Trudeau said we didn't want Canadians to take on any more debt, so we took it on for them.
Well, in fact, that's the point I'm making, and actually, it's funny. Just give me a second here, Nick, because I betcha. I will bet you. Where does it go? Where am I? Come on, guys. Come on. I know I have. Okay, I may have to. Oh, there it is. Okay, I have. Okay, here it is. So let me just play that clip, Nick. I have that. It's just too precious. Okay. So here's
okay. Go ahead.
Here's Justin Trudeau talking about taking on debt so that we don't have to.
As a federal government, given the historically low interest rates and the low debt servicing costs that we have, and given our extremely strong fiscal position going in, we decided to take on that debt to prevent Canadians from having to do it. We took on debt so Canadians wouldn't have to.
You got that? Okay, you guys, your federal debt is not. You don't have to worry. The federal government has got your back. Their debt is not yours. Apparently, that's at least the government of Canada has got your back. Anyway.
Joseph.
Yes, sir.
I want you to grab a plank about 3 inches thick and about 4 feet long, and I want you to hit me over the head with it.
Oh, Nick,
over and over again.
Nick, I'd love to do that, but I think you need a little bit of zen there, Nick. It's just a little bit. Just relax. Have some Prozac.
This is such infantile thinking.
You need Prozac, Nick.
He's got it backwards.
Valium.
It's not his debt. Valium would make me happier. I won't argue with it. And morphine is a friend of mine when I have kidney stones.
Oh, dear.
Which I haven't had in a while, knock on wood. But maybe these people take it just because. Maybe they've been out to Tweed or out to Smith Falls and spent too much time in the product testing room.
A little bit of that.
I just don't know.
A little bit of that up in smoke there.
Oh, it's like that. You know what? This would make more sense in a Cheech and Chong movie from the 1970s than it does as economic policy for a G7 country.
Okay. So let's get serious now for a second, okay, Nick? So here's the thing. And by the way, I just want to make sure that everybody understands Nick does not have COVID-19. Okay, at least we don't think he does because he won't get tested. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's get serious, okay? First of all, the whole idea that of spending your savings in order to jumpstart the economy, that is, there's what I call the GDP fetish, okay? And that is that we mark our economic health, or we determine our economic health, judge our economic health based on, is our GDP going up or down and how fast is it growing? And of course, that's all based on spending. Now, it wasn't that long ago that we were actually talking about how Canadians weren't saving enough. So this is kind of flipping that whole argument on its head. But here's the thing that's really the most troubling, okay? And that is that the spending, okay, when you talk about investment, okay, when you and I, Nick, put money in the bank in savings, okay, we call that savings. But really what it is, it's an investment. The bank then takes that money and it lends it out to businesses at a profit. It charges interest, and then it pays us interest if we have, granted, not much interest, okay, but it pays us a little bit of interest in our savings and other accounts. Or if we take that money, our so-called savings, and we put it into mutual funds, again, the mutual fund company, could be the banks, could be whatever, then takes that money and invests it in projects, etc. So really, in our economy, unless you're talking about you get your paycheck, you go cash it, and then you bring the cash home, you pay your bills in cash, the rest of the money is you're stuffing into your mattress somewhere, okay? That would be saving money and taking it out of circulation. But when you save money in the bank, we call it savings because that's what we're used to calling it. But in reality, it's investment, which is exactly what we want to do. Now, let's say everybody does a run on the bank and says, okay, I'm not going to save, I'm not going to put any money in the bank anymore because I am heeding the finance minister's call. I am going to follow what Ms. Friedland has it's a call to arms. We're going to the bank, we're withdrawing all of our money, and we are spending it. The result of that is that the banks now don't have any money to lend. which means that when you're in business and you go and you borrow money, then you're not going to have any money to borrow. And that creates a credit crunch, which is exactly what we don't want to happen. So the fact that the government is talking about trying to discourage you from saving your money now, quote unquote, in fact, I think betrays a really fundamental lack of understanding of the complexity of our economy. Now, I want to make one more really important point, and that is this. There are segments of our economy that are, in fact, really suffering quite badly because of all of the restrictions that we've put in place over the last 10 months, on again, off again, on again, off again, etc. But there are segments of our economy that are booming. And I'll tell you one area that's booming right now is the home renovation sector. You cannot get a contractor to come in and do home renovation next week or next month, and maybe even not for another 5 or 6 months. And we know we've looked at doing some stuff in our own home where we've had contractors come in to give us estimates, and they're telling us we can't get to this work until 6 months, 7 months, 8 months down the road. We're that badly booked. And the reason being is because people actually are not hoarding their money. Their spending habits may have changed because they can't go and spend money at restaurants and bars that much, okay? Or maybe they haven't been able to go and to the local furniture store and spend a lot of money at the local furniture store, which, by the way, is probably selling furniture from China anyway, okay? Right. So the high-end furniture stores anyway. So, but does that mean they're not spending money? Well, no, they're spending money on home renovations, okay? They're spending money like crazy on online, to the point where delivery companies like FedEx, DHL, Purolator, Post Office are now saying that they can't keep up with the load. They can't keep up with the volume, and so for the finance minister to not know this, to not know what's going on, to be so pedestrian in her thinking, and it's not just the finance minister. I mean, who's advising her? It's actually what seems to be a relatively moderate, modest suggestion. And I agree with you. Pierre can be a pit bull, and he's having a little bit of fun with this. Great, okay, lock your money away. To me, this again is an indication of some very troubling lack of understanding about some fundamental basics not just in how the economy works in a modern economy, but how our economy is working right now, given the specific circumstances that we find ourselves in. Nick?
I'm listening. Believe me, I'm listening. It's one of these things when you watch this stuff unfold, on the surface, okay, it looks like it's incompetence on a massive scale. And I think it probably is, because when you look at Freeland's credentials, what economic training? Now, look, I understand that ministers don't actually do the work of running the departments. That's what the deputy ministers do, and all the underlings underneath them. They're the ones who actually run the department. But they have to have a basic understanding of things like, how does an economy work? Where does the money come from? What happens if we do this or that? What are going to be what's the follow? What's the consequences? And there isn't anything to indicate that these people have even